Thank you, Chair. Can I thank the member for her question? There is no doubt in my mind that too many renters in London face high costs, poor conditions and a lack of security. All renters deserve decent and safe homes from fair and decent landlords, and that's why tenants and London's local authorities should be able to properly hold private landlords to account. While I have no formal powers over private renting in London, I am doing everything I can to improve renting for London's 2.7 million private renters. My private renting partnership brings together senior officers from all London boroughs to share intelligence and best practice in private rented sector enforcement. My online private rented tools and checkers also empower renters to make informed decisions about who they rent from and enables the public to report problems or concerns in a quick and easy way and holds landlords to account. These tools support London boroughs in their enforcement work, helping them to drive up standards and conditions in London's private rented sector and act as a deterrent to rogue landlords. However, councils can only hold landlords to account if they have the resources to do so. There's no doubt that years of underfunding by the previous government has left London's boroughs facing a chronic shortage in qualified housing officers. To help address this, I've launched a private rented sector qualification and funded and facilitated upskilling training for existing borough officers. Property licensing is one of the best tools boroughs have to hold private landlords to account, and we're developing a new project to support boroughs to introduce new and expanded schemes. I've also commissioned training for Met Police officers to help prevent illegal evictions, and I'm pleased that more than 11,000 frontline officers have been trained so far. The new Renters' Rights Act is a vital piece of legislation to help hold landlords to account and will deliver much-needed security and stability for renters after years of delay by the previous government. I'm delighted that so many of the recommendations for tenancy reform that I made in my 2019 London model for tenancy reform are included in the Act, including ending Section 21 evictions. I'm also pleased that the government's recognised the need for additional council resource to fulfil the promise of the Act and enable councils to go further in holding landlords to account. Given this is national legislation, it will now need a national awareness campaign to ensure that renters and landlords fully understand their rights and responsibilities.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing on training and supporting councils and the landlord licensing schemes. I wanted to specifically ask about a manifesto commitment you've made to support renters' unions. So explicitly it said, I will back renters to defend their rights with advice and guidance, including funding for groups such as renters' unions. But as far as I'm aware, no funding has gone to renters' unions yet, so I'm wondering when that will materialise. So
Chair, we are investing £11 million to fund organisations. In answer to a previous Mayor's question time when she raised this issue, I did ask my Deputy Mayor to meet with them. My understanding is there's date in the diary. And one of the 11 million, I was provided with a list and it's got some great organisations on it doing some great work to support people with debt and support, the renters can also access that, but it doesn't explicitly support renters' unions. So I'm explicitly asking if you're going to fund the renters' unions. So, Chair, if she's making representations, which I hope she is, in relation to next year's budget, then I'm more than happy to take this on board. But she can also be in touch offline. One of the reasons I was keen for my Deputy Mayor to meet with the union is if there's additionality they can provide, in addition to the funding we give to advice centres and others to give tenants advice. But I'm more than happy to look into, subject to budget constraints, specific issues that she thinks that they could add.
Yeah, of course, because, we've seen rise in Section 21 evictions. As soon as it was floated by the government, landlords increased the use of that. And it's unions who are really on the side of renters, letting them know their rights and supporting them through that incredibly stressful time. So I think if we're going to fund unions, it needs to be now, because the Renters' Rights Act, as we know, is all about renters knowing their rights and being supported in this period.
My understanding is that Deputy Mayor, if he's not already met them, he's meeting them.
In the new year,
The obvious reason is because of the reason why now is because we're setting budgets for next year. I also recognise that there are some tenants who may go to a renters' union, who may not go to the CABs and others we're funding. I want to get the advice to the people who need it the most. So that's one of the reasons I was keen for him to meet with them. But if there's any additional points that she thinks that this support could add, I'd really keen to hear.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll let you know my thoughts on that. And the other point I wanted to raise, which again is a kind of just to get some clarity from you. So in this chamber in September, I was asking you about rent controls, and you said that you were making representations, and it was one of your priorities of things you were talking about, getting rent control powers. But in the week after that meeting when we spoke, the housing minister said to Parliament that the government had not received direct representations from the Mayor of London in respect to rent controls, and we had not discussed their introduction at local levels. That's a direct quote. So I wanted to know why the government is saying the opposite to what you said to me in the chamber.
I think, I can't remember the amount of times I've said publicly and privately that I think we need to bring in rent controls. I'm really happy to drop the Minister a note today to remind him about my public calls for rent controls. In the meantime, some good news. We will be introducing next year some City Hall rent control homes, key worker living rent homes. There's a title, but it's rent controlled homes. I think if there are three big issues, one is security of tenure, quality of accommodation. The third big issue is the rent.
Absolutely.
Now, the tribunals may help. One of the things I'm asking the government to do when it comes to the database is to collect rents, what rent you're paying, because that intelligence is really important in terms of tribunal information. So that could be a backdoor way of affecting
I
rents.
think, and I'll take you up on that. I think it'd be really good if you wrote to just be really explicit and that renters know that you're fully doing all that advocacy that you can. Thank you.